There is a specific kind of wealth that does not announce itself. No visible excess, no crowded rooms, no collection of things bought to signal arrival. The homes of people who have been financially stable for decades share a quiet trait. They contain fewer objects than you would expect, and each object is better than you imagined. This is not a design philosophy. It is a financial architecture built over time. The surface reads as restraint. The mechanism underneath is compounding capital. Every category of spending that was permanently resolved means capital that never left. And capital that never left is capital that kept growing. Most people treat minimalism as an aesthetic. The durably wealthy treat it as a decision system. The habits we examine today are not about owning less for its own sake. They are about how specific choices around acquisition create structural financial advantages. Each habit removes a category of recurring expenditure and converts it into permanent investment capacity. The most foundational habit concerns the unit economics of ownership itself. Buying one well-made version of something rather than cycling through cheaper versions of the same thing. The cheaper option looks like the conservative choice. Over time, it is the more expensive one. A household tool that costs 4 times as much but lasts 30 years costs a fraction as much per year of use. The inferior version, replaced every 2 or 3 years, generates a recurring cost that never stops. This logic scales across every category of household spending without exception. One quality coat that lasts a decade outperforms 3 cheaper ones replaced in the same period, financially and functionally. The durably wealthy do not spend less by buying cheap. They spend less by solving the purchase once. Each solved purchase is a closed loop. No return visits, no replacement costs, no decision fatigue. The accumulation of correctly solved purchases also changes the home's character. Fewer things that work well leaves more physical space and more mental clarity around money. The capital that would have funded 12 mediocre purchases instead funds a single superior one, with surplus left over. One category where this thinking becomes particularly measurable is clothing. The average household spends a significant portion of its annual budget replacing, updating, and expanding what it wears. Much of that spending is not driven by genuine need. It is driven by trend cycles, seasonal resets, and social comparison. A deliberately curated set of high-quality, interchangeable clothing pieces eliminates most of those drivers entirely. Pieces chosen for longevity rather than seasonality do not need to be replaced each year. Quality manufacturers produce garments that outlast the promotional calendar by years or decades. The household that converts its clothing budget from trend-driven to durability-driven often halves its annual spend in that category. Over a 20-year period, that redirected capital invested consistently becomes a compounding asset worth tens of thousands of dollars. The wardrobe is not the point. The freed capital is the point. The constraint imposed on clothing spending is not a deprivation. It is an annual transfer into investment capacity. One of the most quietly expensive habits in modern consumer households is the upgrade cycle. Replacing functional items not because they have stopped working, but because newer versions have appeared. A phone that works is replaced because a marginally better one exists. A car that runs is returned because a lease expired. Each of these transactions feels neutral or even logical in isolation. Across all categories simultaneously, the upgrade cycle extracts several $1,000s per year from a household's balance sheet. The companies generating these upgrade cycles are doing so deliberately, engineering obsolescence into their business models. Participating in those cycles is a recurring subsidy paid to manufacturers by households who have not examined the pattern. Breaking the upgrade cycle requires one decision, not constant discipline. Keep the thing until it genuinely fails. That single policy, applied across electronics, vehicles, and home appliances, seals a significant annual leak. The money that stops leaving through forced obsolescence becomes money available for assets that appreciate rather than depreciate. A distinct but related habit concerns how households decide what to own versus what to rent or subscribe to. The default for most households is passive. Subscriptions accumulate, tools are rented out of habit, and the math is never run. The deliberate household runs the math explicitly before defaulting to either option. If a tool is rented repeatedly for the same recurring project, the cumulative rental cost quickly exceeds the purchase price. The calculation is not always in favor of ownership. High-maintenance assets and rapidly depreciating technology often favor rental. The key is that the decision is made consciously rather than by inertia. Subscription services that duplicate each other's content, rarely used memberships, and repeat rentals of the same category all warrant examination. Owning what is used consistently enough to justify ownership and renting or eliminating what is not is a structural audit most households have never conducted. The savings identified by one honest afternoon reviewing recurring expenditures are often larger than expected. The one-in, one-out rule functions as an elegant friction mechanism inside an otherwise permissive consumer environment. For every new object that enters the household, one must leave. This is not about physical space. It is about forcing every acquisition to answer a question. What does this replace, and is it genuinely better than what it replaces? Most impulse purchases cannot answer that question clearly. That failure is the filter. The rule does not prohibit buying. It prohibits buying without a corresponding decision about what the new thing supersedes. That decision inserts a pause between the desire to acquire and the act of acquisition. Most of what consumer environments are designed to produce is buying in the absence of that pause. The friction is the defense, not willpower exercised in the moment, but a standing rule that removes the need for moment-by-moment resistance. Households that apply this rule accumulate fewer objects over time and retain more capital for assets that compound. The same logic that governs physical accumulation applies to financial structure. A household carrying 12 accounts, multiple overlapping credit cards, and dozens of active subscriptions has not built sophistication. It has built a system too complex to see clearly, and invisible complexity carries its own cost. Charges persist because the full picture is never reviewed. Fees accumulate in accounts whose purpose has been forgotten. Credit card balances persist because the complete financial picture is too tangled to address efficiently. Simplicity is not a limitation imposed by limited resources. It is a strategic choice made by people who understand what they are managing. A financial structure transparent enough to be fully understood in one sitting gives its owner something most households lack: complete clarity. Every account has a defined purpose. Every investment is understood. Every recurring charge is intentional. That clarity is not aesthetic. It is the precondition for consistent, deliberate action on wealth over time. The households whose finances are simplest are often the ones whose wealth has grown most reliably. A final behavioral system governs how the durably wealthy relate to non-essential purchases. Structured delay. Nothing significant is bought immediately. There is a cooling period between the encounter with a desired object and the decision to acquire it. Smaller purchases wait 30 days. Larger ones wait longer. During that period, the item sits on a list. The desire is allowed to either deepen or dissolve. In most cases, it dissolves. The impulse that felt urgent in the moment of encounter loses its urgency in the following weeks. The purchase does not happen. The capital stays. This is not about suppressing desire. It is about distinguishing desire that reflects genuine need from desire manufactured by marketing, social context, or temporary emotional state. The former survives the waiting period, the latter rarely does. What this system produces across a year is the quiet non-occurrence of dozens of purchases that would have been regretted or forgotten within months. Across a decade, the capital preserved by those non-purchases compounds into a measurable structural advantage. The deepest habit operates as a single evaluative question applied before every significant purchase. Not, is this good enough for now, but, would I be satisfied owning this permanently? That shift in framing eliminates an entire category of spending, the placeholder purchase. The thing bought because the right version was too expensive, or unidentified, or simply required more patience than the moment allowed. Placeholder purchases get replaced. Replacements cost money, generate waste, and defer the original decision without resolving it. The Permanence standard routes spending directly toward the higher quality option, not out of luxury preference, but out of financial logic. The higher quality option is the one that closes the loop permanently. Everything else is temporary cost plus eventual replacement cost. Applied consistently across years and categories, this standard produces a household that owns fewer things and has spent less total money to own them. The relationship between what the household does not buy and what it eventually accumulates is direct and calculable. The habits described here are not a lifestyle. They are a compounding system. Each habit addresses a specific category of capital leakage and converts it into structural retention. Quality over replacement closes the loop on recurring purchase cycles. Deliberate wardrobe curation eliminates trend-driven spending and redirects it to investment. Breaking the upgrade cycle seals a leak that consumer markets depend on households leaving open. Explicit ownership calculations prevent passive accumulation of rental costs and redundant subscriptions. Friction rules convert a permissive consumer environment into a selective one. Financial simplicity restores visibility over a household's actual financial picture. Structured delay filters genuine need from manufactured desire and preserves the capital difference. The Permanence standard ensures that spending, when it happens, solves problems permanently rather than temporarily. None of these habits require a high income to begin. Each one functions at any current net worth. What they require is a consistent decision to treat spending as a system rather than a sequence of isolated events. The gap between ordinary accumulation and durable wealth is not primarily a gap in income. It is a gap in how many capital leaks remain open across a decade of financial life.